Information Science student at the Information School here at the University of Washington, and I'm also finishing a master's in political science at Lovin State University. It's a pleasure to be here speaking to all of you today. Last month, we introduced you to the science of climate change. We're happy to follow up on any questions you may have in that regard. As a resident librarian, I can find you specific resources if you wish. We just need you to reach out to us and establish that dialogue. At the end of the day, though, the statistic you need to remind yourself is this. 93% of accredited peer-reviewed climate scientists agree on the issue of climate change, and this is an academic institution. Those figures, matter. This is not the McLaughlin group. We can't throw our way out of the issue. We have to address it, in person, practically at an institutional level, not just at a personal level. For the students here today, obviously the issue is personal. But for all of you here, you have different responsibility as institutional, and I'm going to explain why, what you have to take there, what we believe. The greatest description of leadership that I've heard from a leadership at any level, community organizing at our level, or at this appointed level, is an Iroquois phrase, which is, it's basically 7 generations that all comes down to. You have to look back 7 generations for guidance, and we have to think 7 generations ahead. And as regents, that's exactly what you're appointed to do when you're looking at the future of this institution. As regents, you have a responsibility to transcend personal ties. You have a moral obligation to look past potential conflicts of interest and to act with sustainability in mind. For the university to thrive, so must our state, our nation, and the world. We're not isolated. If you read the World Bank report, which was cited in the information that we provided to you last month, you know that there's a global consensus. We can't afford to exploit the fossil fuels that have already been found, let alone the fossil fuels that we're still looking for, without pushing ourselves past the point of 4% global warming, a point which the World Bank admits could push civilization itself to the brink. You have a mandate which the university has affirmed on many levels to pursue a sustainable future. You know that there are green mutual funds that post the same average returns as the fossil fuel industry. The investment is not a zero-sum game. We can be ethical, we can be sustainable, and still thrive. Thank you. That's everything.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Robert Marsh, and I'm an alumni of UW. I wanted to talk about the economic reasons this board should engage, that we want to engage this board in investor policy towards divestment. The short-term costs are uncertain. We've all seen the economic impact estimate that says it could cost us $187 million over 20 years. However, this is not realistic because past performance doesn't fit future profitability when the effects of carbon pollution are accumulating in our atmosphere, and we're seeing drastic change now, which we didn't see in the past. There is uncertainty regarding the thresholds of global action on climate change, but here's what we know. The transition away from fossil fuels is going to be pioneered by institutions seeking the reputational and the market benefits of the new emerging green ethic and the emerging green market. We know that the profitability of fossil fuel stocks is mutually exclusive, with even the belief that this transition will occur since they are valued based on the anticipation of those companies of burning 5 times more carbon than the UN says is safe. We know that business as usual is far more costly. A quote from the World Bank states, "There is no certainty that adaptation to a 4 degrees world is possible." An excerpt from Washington's climate response policy projects, and I quote, nearly $10 billion per year by 2020. That's only 7 years away, and the threshold for divestment, which we've proposed, gives a time frame of 5 years. We know that looking at the profitability of the tobacco industry suggests that retrospective analysis is inadequate when an industry is targeted by national campaigns. Our group cannot think why the UW should not shed its exposure to the fossil fuel industry while simultaneously reinforcing our role in the most important global issue of our students' generation. But if you guys do have reasons, can we hear them? Can we engage with you, please?
My name is Kyle Murphy. I'm a recent graduate of the university. Thank you all for having us here again and for listening to our concerns. I just wanted to bring up today that it's not just our group and the handful of people in this room that are demanding exploration of divestment. This campus has demanded this of the Regents to open up a dialogue with us and explore this option. And we have over 24 registered student organizations that have endorsed us, dozens of professors, and many, many more individual students. I'd just like to share a few of those with you today. These are some of the most influential student groups on campus. Groups like the Black Student Union, the African Student Association, the Polynesian Student Alliance, the United Students Against Sweatshops, the UW Student Farm, the Young Democrats, and many, many more, including the ASUW Student Senate, which passed legislation asking the board to explore divestment with us in a collaborative process. Dozens more professors have endorsed us as well, including the head of the climate change program, experts on human rights and political science, oceanographers, and just many, many more. So we hope that you guys will all listen to the rest of campus, open up this dialogue. We know that you have a lot of other important business, but we hope that you will take this seriously and engage us on this matter. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angela Fang, and I am an undergraduate at the University of Washington. I'm also the president of the UW Earth Club and SAGE, the Student Association for Green Environment. I'm proud of the role my university has played as a leader in sustainability. From the various groups that UW supports on campus, to the numerous measures which both President Young and Senior Vice President Warren addressed in the Huffington Post, touting the university's sustainable practices. We have a campus sustainability fund. We are LEED certifying our buildings. We are composting and recycling campus-wide. Most recently, we have invested $8 million in research on ocean acidification and the environment. Why do we do these things? Why do we form these environmental groups, initiate these programs? Because we live by our values. Values for a better environment, a better world, and ultimately a better future. But how can we uphold these values while our university continues to invest in fossil fuels? I've spent many nights wrestling with this question, racked with guilt and frustration. Are we not then living as hypocrites, fighting against climate change, while attending a school whose investments continue to fund the fossil fuel industry? I've since confronted this question and realized that we, the students, were born into society. We didn't create nor do we wish to perpetuate the system upon which it runs. Even though we contribute to the system, simply by being students, there is no other option. And I'm asking the Board of Regents to consider another option, divestment. Earlier this year, after voting on an issue that she knew had no chance of winning the first time around, my professor said she did so because she wanted to live her life based on her values. I, along with our club and SAGE, support divestment from fossil fuels. We know we're standing up for our values, living valuably. The university is committed to do the same, and it's up to you to make sure that it does. Thank you.
Hello again. My name is Sarah Tacola. I'm an environmental science and resource management major. I'm an officer of Psi Sigma Pi, the National Forestry Honor Society, and a member of the Student Council for the College of the Environment, which is comprised of 7 individual schools. I look forward to getting to know you better, as I will be here until the campaign is won. Today we're only asking for a start. We need to engage the board in a dialogue about divestment. But we aren't the only people talking about divestment. We not only have support on the local level, but on the national level. Last month, when I spoke to your board, Seattle City Council member and UW alumni Mike O'Brien was downstairs rallying our supporters and allies, encouraging us not to give up on this campaign despite the frustrating speed of government. He went on to say, quote, "Divestment isn't a radical idea. It's not a so far left thing. This is common sense. We're here spending money to create our future. And if our leaders are going to tell us that the only way we can raise money to invest in our future is to invest in companies that destroy our future, that math just doesn't work out. End quote. 3 weeks ago, when Obama gave his climate action speech, he reminded us that, quote, there is no contradiction between a sound environment and strong economic growth, end quote. He told us, quote, what we need in this fight are citizens who will stand up and speak up and compel us to do what this moment demands, end quote. But most importantly, and I quote this, the President of the United States of America called us to divest. Last week at a mayoral candidate forum, I spoke to Mike McGinn, the mayor of Seattle who's already gotten Seattle on the path of divestment. Mike McGinn thanked us for running this campaign and reminded us change takes time and not to give up. He advised us to go to every Board of Regents meeting until we succeed. And that's exactly what we intend to do. Last month, after speaking here, you failed to respond to us. That's why we're here now, and we're here to stay until you end this one-sided conversation and contact us, put us on the agenda, and establish a working dialogue. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing back from the board.
On behalf of the Regents, I want to thank all of you for taking your time to attend today and to present your comments to the board. As I stated earlier, if members of the board would like additional information about any of the issues presented in public comment, they will make the request of staff, and that information will come back to the board that way. I will also say that I can't underscore enough the importance of making sure that the dialogue on these issues starts with our management team and our staff team as well. So I would certainly encourage you to do that. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate you coming to talk to us, and do thank you for your commitment, which is certainly evident. We will now proceed with the regular meeting agenda. Thank you.